Hi guys, today we are going to discuss how to evaluate people. A crucial consideration when evaluating a given opportunity is who are the people involved. I believe that any given project is likely to run into many factors that are unexpected or can't be captured in the evaluation process, and indeed that such unexpected factors often dominate the expected factors. Therefore, no matter how promising a project looks on paper, I expect it to fail if the people behind it are not capable enough. Conversely, if the people behind a project are sufficiently capable, even a project that sounds terrible to me could turn out to be excellent or be adjusted as it progresses to be excellent based on factors that I fail to understand at the time of evaluation. Bottom line, I expect funding great people to lead at least to good, if not great things, and funding incompetent people to lead to failure. In many cases, regardless of most other factors, two important counterpoints. The choice of sector is important as great people often work on issues they are passionate about, and the good they can accomplish can be limited by their choice of issue. And room for more funding is always crucial. Even the most capable people generally have limits to how much funding they can productively use. I have believed that this for a long time, but GiveWell has not used evaluation of people as a significant explicit factor in our evaluations, though we have taken the position that much of what we look for implicitly selects for good people. Lately, we have found ourselves putting more explicit weight on our impressions of an organization's people. This post discusses why we have previously been hesitant to explicitly weigh and discuss this factor, what has changed, and how we evaluate people. Challenges of explicitly evaluating people. It's worth noting that GiveWell's process to date has contained a great deal of implicit evaluation of the people involved in the charities we have examined. One of our main goals is evaluating a charity's track record. We have argued in the past that evaluating an organization's track record can be a good way to evaluate its people. In the non-profit world, there is an additional wrinkle is assessing track records, which is that most non-profit doesn't have the data to make such assessment possible. We think those that do are likely to have important values in common with us, as discussed below. More generally, we tend to ask many critical questions of given charity and to publish its responses along with our evaluation of those responses. We feel that asking article questions about a person's work and evaluating how much the answers seem to make sense is another good method for evaluating people. Our emphasis on transparency has created an interesting way of distinguishing between charities. Some groups take a near open book attitude, others are not willing to put any of their materials or communications with us on the record, and others fall somewhere in between. We believe that this distinction may imperfectly capture important values as discussed below. That said, there are observations to make and opinions we form of people that don't necessarily show up on their organizations' GiveWell reviews. We notice not just how good an organization's track record is, but how intelligently from our perspective its staff discuss the relevant issues. We notice not just how good its final answers to our critical questions are, but how efficient are the exchanges leading up to these answers. We form impressions that can't always be pinned down to specific or public occurrences. So far, we have been hesitant to put much weight on or publicly discuss these sorts of factors, a major hesitation is that we are wary of putting too much weight on informal, intangible impressions that are likely to end up being tests of how similar charity representatives are to us rather than tests of how well suited charity representatives are to do their work. It seems easy for evaluations of people to end up being driven by charisma, by similarity to the evaluator, and or by characteristics that don't translate well to non-profit work. Regarding the latter, many philanthropists have been successful in other domains and are used to being able to pick out people who can succeed in the domain they know well. We fear that they are not able to build up the same experience and reliability of institution in the non-profit world, where it's hard to know who has and has not succeeded, and that the qualities they are looking for many not translate well. Reasons our stance is shifting. Despite the concerns above, we are now starting to factor our views on people more heavily into our prioritizations and recommendations, and we are starting to feel that it's important to write explicitly about our views on this front, not just about charities' performance on our standard criteria. This is because we have had enough experience to start feeling that we recognize patterns in what sorts of people organizations eventually do well versus poorly in our process, and as our process has improved, we have become more confident in its conclusions. Improvement in our process has also led us to have less confidence in any given empirical case. Example, we have come to feel that we need to supplement empirical analysis with whatever other sources of views are available, even if they are somewhat intangible. We have been thinking more about how to evaluate charities without relying on our proven cost-effective framework, where doing so explicit evaluation of people is more important. We have been learning how rare it is that one can see how a charity has performed over time. Because of this, it's become more important to us to support groups that could contribute to changing this. Groups that share some of our core values, such as valuing self-evaluation and transparency. That said, the concerns listed in the previous section still apply, and thus we are still cautious about placing heavy weight on our reads of people. Thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thanks a lot.